Guys, good morning and welcome in to Thursday as we have an incredible Thursday night football game on tap tonight. I am extremely excited for this Cowboys-Lions game that we have going on. We also have 5 NBA games, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but we have a lot of NHL games going on tonight. So pretty light on the college basketball slate. But as we're starting to get closer to the weekend, things are going to be ramping up. So first and foremost, welcome in. And hopefully we can find some more value on DFS than we have the past couple of days. The last, I'd say, 3 streams, it's been very dry out there for DFS. So I'm hoping we can find some value. Morning, Chi-Town. Morning, Irish. Good morning. What's going on, Dr. Slips? Good morning to you guys. Appreciate you guys hanging out, tuning in. Hopefully you're off to a strong start this morning. So let's see what we got cooking. Not gonna lie, when I saw how light the college basketball slate was, I was a little disappointed. But we got plenty else going on. This is way better than any June or July in the middle of summer. So I got to remind myself that. So let's take a look at some PrizePicks, 3-pick slips. Let's go over to Sharp Money tool first. I got both tools kind of locked and loaded here. Looks like better is what we have cooking at the moment. So forgot to pull over a screen here. Let me do that and load these bad boys up. So let me pull up better. Looks like we got a Jake Ferguson and Tesla. It looks like I don't have a discount on better, but we have a couple of maybe projections that are a little bit nicer. The more 2.5 for Jake Ferguson. Yeah, that's kind of a discount. Okay, I like that. Over 2.5 receptions. And then what do we got here? Austin Reeves under on his assists. Good to really all 3, Pinnacle, Bookmaker, and to FanDuel. There's a decent amount of liquidity here when you combine these together. Somebody wants this at minus either 124, minus 120. We're going to take it at minus 122 on a 3-man slip. So we'll grab Austin Reeves under on his assists. And then we can either look at Dalton Connect under on his threes, or we can look at Michael Porter Jr. under on rebounds. And I prefer the Porter Jr. play. It's only minus 120 at Bookmaker. I like this a little bit more because it's 133 at Pinnacle, 135 at Bookmaker, 132 at FanDuel. So Michael Porter Jr. under on his rebounds. So fading Reeves and Porter on their unders. Okay. Yeah, we want the 3-pick perfect. Let me make sure I got this correct. Are they giving me a nerf on the pricing? Yeah, because it should be a 6x payout. Yeah, they're saying it's 3.25. Which I don't want to mess around with that. I don't know if it's the Ferguson. Let's look at Derek White. Derek White's okay. Kuminga's not ideal. Anything else? Champagny? Yeah, not ideal. I'd rather go with either Kuminga's 126, 120, 125. It's okay. It's a little better with Derek White under on his player points. Let me see if this is the Ferguson play that's giving me this reduced payout. Normally it should be a 6x. So looking at Derek White under on his points. Yeah, it must have been the Ferguson discount, but we're going to take this one over here, guys. So I'll grab this. 3-pick entry, no insurance, perfect play. I'll share this with you guys. There we go. First slip of the day. Locked and loaded. Feels good. What's going on, Carmelo? Daniel, how are you? Arturo, MP, 49ers. Great to hear that. Got the new Fanatics markets downloaded. Going to check that out. Chi-Town, you might have to elaborate on it. And Edge Zone, good morning to you. Billy, Props Builder just ripped off the Band-Aid. $25 to $50 limits fine. Pure EV night. Up 1,000K. You were better off letting me arb. Yeah, so that's kind of been the word out on the street with Props Builder is that at least for some people that I've talked to, Even when you kind of open up a new account now, it's like $100 max. Great to hear, though, on 25, the $50 limits, pure EV, up over $1,000. So, again, guys, if you're willing to put the volume in, even on limited props builder accounts, you can still make incredible money. So, but I've heard that it's the days of being able to bet maybe, over $150 to $200, $300, $400 on props builder, those days might be behind us. Let me refresh this page. But I will say last night, tip of the cap to Edge Zone and the NHL shots on goal. You guys brought some fire picks. It was a smaller amount of picks, but if more of them win than they lose, then I'm really happy, and that's what happened. So it was really solid last night with Edge Zone, and we'll be diving into that here in a little bit to talk a little bit more about, my favorite Discord and some of you guys in here like Chi-Town and Irish. And let me know if you're not Chi-Town or Irish and you're someone else that is using Edge Zone. Let me know. So we'd love to hear from you. So, and hear how your experience has been going. It's been going very well for me. So looking over here at PrizePicks, let me refresh the page. Let's look at this. I got that. Fanatics launched their polymarket clone in states where aren't legal for the sports books. Man, that's a great option. That's an awesome option, Chi-Town, because that's something where it just gives you another book. It gives you some more flexibility. And maybe, like if you're like with me, and I think Chi-Town, you might be in the same spot. If you have access to 4CX, like I use 4CX a decent amount, right? I can create a lot of I can be a market maker for a lot of NBA player props. But for NHL, specifically NHL anytime goal scorers, I can't. It's not available on 4CX. So if that's available on Fanatics, that'd be incredible. I don't mind the George Claxton play. It's really good to Pinnacle. Earlier in the morning, guys, I really lean more on Pinnacle's odds. So let me fire up PrizePicks. And we'll go over here to the NBA. But very excited for just this Thursday night football game tonight. I just think, sports are unpredictable, guys. We could have ourselves a 17-13 type game, but I am really expecting there to be like a lot of points scored. So George Claxton combo. We're taking the over on this. Cool. And then what else do we have? Not really. George Pickens tonight over on his catches. This is good to Pinnacle. I like that. George has been absolutely feasting. I can talk about Steelers for like 30 seconds. George has been unreal. I'm not upset though the Steelers don't have him on their team. He's absolutely the biggest 3-year-old you'll ever meet. Like I know a lot of wide receivers are divas. I got tired of George's antics compared to what he was doing on the field. The talent was there, no doubt. We always knew it was there, but I don't mind that we still ended up trading him. I'm still okay with it. All right, so we got 2 plays there, but what else do we have? Again, this Austin Reeves play, we could add this again to the slip if we wanted to. Again, take a little higher risk, higher reward, guys, if this doesn't work out. But I do like the Austin Reeves play more than Champagny. What about Nick Chubb? This is for Sunday. I do have the Sunday plays pulled up. We're going to go with Reeves again. There just isn't as much value out there. So this is a PrizePicks slip. We're looking at the under 7.5. Let's grab this. All right, 2 mores and a less. And I'll share this link with you guys as well. No player props, just main lines. Well, I'm sure that'll come down in the future. All books know how popular player props are, but good to hear at least there's another option for you. Let's take a look. All right, let's look at underdog, and we'll throw up a couple of minimum data points. We'll see what's up. So kind of recapping yesterday, I myself personally had a solid day. Didn't have as solid of a day as Edge Zone, but it was good. I think it was over $400, which I'll take that every day. And then for Dub Club users, we had on the verge of a big day, but it was a small winning day. Brought back just a quarter of a unit, so nothing like incredible to really talk about, but it was a winning day nonetheless. We stayed very hot with NHL anytime goal scorers. We cashed on Mikko Rantanen, and it was excellent. It was a solid day, so it was good to hear. I'll be sharing that a little bit later, guys, in the chat. For those of you that are just looking to have picks sent right to you, so that all you have to do is then just open up your phone and bet them. That's what kind of Dub Club aims to do, is kind of just take out a lot of the work. I try to provide as many links as I can to play. So if you have access to at least FanDuel, because I bet FanDuel a lot, you can click on the link there on FanDuel and pull the play up. We did go 3-0 on our NBA first half plays. Our NBA plays have been really, really good. It's been two particular markets in first halves. Totals have been in one that we've just been absolutely having a great time with. So we got 5 NBA games on the docket today. I'm looking forward to it. Shout out to, who was it? Eastern Washington. You get hooked. If Eastern Washington comes through and only loses by 3 instead of 4, we are in a really good spot. So on underdog here, but that's Dub Club, guys. It's been about making 8 units in the last 11 days. So hasn't been insane, but it's been really solid. All right, so let's take a look at what we have on underdog. This is not, I'm not like too enthused by what I see. Looking at 3 picks, not 6, and I can maybe get down with a Demon play. That one's okay. It's fine. But I need 2 others to pair with him. I don't play fantasy scores. Not my jam. Anthony Edwards on assists. It's only 2 cents off. I'd rather go with Brandon Ingram, probably. And Drummond, maybe. The Drummond play might not be incredible. Jahmyr Gibbs on receiving yards, though it's a wider distribution. I can get down with the over on Gibbs' receiving yards. So go Gibbs, and then let's go Ingram. And then last but not least, we talked about Demon. Okay, 3-pick entry. These are all overs, guys. So we're on the overs club. I got to refresh the page. Give them my location. All right, fantastic. I have to do this whole thing over again. Underdog, man. Just underdog not making it easy with me. Disable alert mode in my browser. Okay, so I'm refreshing the page. All right, so we're going to have to do this the old school way, guys. I'm going to have to cook this up on my phone and then share the link via phone. So bear with me for a second because I want to make sure I can share the link with you guys, and having a hard time doing so on my web browser. All right, let me share this. It's always something. Always something. Okay. Let's see how that goes. This is driving me nuts. It's driving me nuts. I can't get it to work. There we go. Copy that. Apologies, guys. It's just taking me a little bit longer. While I'm looking over here, we're going to pull up some flip plays because this is just taking me. This is what I absolutely hate about Google Chrome. Okay. I think we got it fixed. There it is. Finally. 3 picks. Let's move on now to Fliff. I got that one locked and loaded. Hopefully you guys are still able to tail that one over on Underdog. So, Fliff, I don't see any Pinnacle odds. That's kind of where my eyes immediately dart to. I look for Pinnacle. I look for Bet Online. If I don't see that, don't really care. And this is only 3 or 4 cents off on this UFC fight. Don't really care. So, nah, we'll just move on from there. Let's look at pick 6. Three, JMO. JMO's okay. It's not great. It's not great to Pinnacle. It's only 3 cents off. Derek White, this is fine. I'm okay with Derek White. How about Quickly? Same. Quickly's okay. So I got White. I got Quickly. 1 over, 1 under. Both on their PRA. And then who else can I go to? George. Yeah, George is okay. But I think we already took him. Yeah, no, that's Kaishon. There's Keon. There's just Quickly. So this one's all right. Let's see what we have over here on pick 6. Oh, we got a discount for the NFL with CeeDee Lamb. That's a free square, which is nice to see. So let's go with White. We're looking at it as over PRA. And then Quickly under PRA. And then we're talking about Keontae over on points. Okay, that's a possibility. Or Claxton over on points. All right, we're going to grab this one here, guys. I'll share this pick 6 with you. This is a 3-pick entry. There we go. It's nice when it works that way. All right, there's that one. All right, so, and then we'll also pull up some Dabble plays for any of my Dabble people. Let's take a look. What we got for Dabble. 3 mans if I was going to play it. Doesn't look great. I do like the Tyrese Martin play. I don't know how much. No, I shouldn't say that. I don't like that. Scrap that. It's not that great. Claxton's not great. Martin's not great. Sensabaw's not good. Yeah, none of these are very good at all. At all. Yeah, Rama, pick 6 free square, no doubt about that. Like I said, I know about that. And also, we're going to be focusing a lot more on, honestly, guys, like I said in the stream, I want to make sure for those of you that want to barock some DFS, I give you some slips now. But, this evening stream at 6 o'clock is going to be all player props, and it's going to be making sure we hit on that. So there could be some value. We'll take a look at the NFL at the moment right here just to see if there is. But there might be something more. And I appreciate you, Rama. You always keep me on my toes, brother. So if I look at the NFL right here, yeah, we're going to most likely wait until the evening stream. The Dak play, yeah, the line on Dak isn't as good to Pinnacle, even though it's just 2 yards. Yeah, we're going to wait until this evening stream to see if anything else changes. Because this one feels, for the free square is so nice. The hard part is they really just kind of make you force a slip. So that's going to basically be it, guys, right now for player prop betting. As I mentioned many times, the morning streams, I try to get a little DFS in, and then after that, it's really heavily all focused on mainline markets because I like to bet player props until a little bit later in the day, especially for the NBA when we get some more injury news that kind of comes out. So let's tee up all the books, and let's look at, we got the NFL. We'll throw in some college football too. Let's look at the NBA. There's not many college basketball games today. I think there's like 5 or 6. I got the next 7 days teed up, mainline markets. Warriors plus 3.5. Somebody wants this for $1,700. Somebody wants this for $1,800. So roughly about $3,500 at plus 3.5 against the Sixers in Philly tonight. They want this at minus 110, minus 109. And as you can see, that's a good price to Pinnacle. Pinnacle has this at minus 120. Bookmakers minus 135. So I can go bet this right now over at BetDSI, guys. This is honestly just a good price. BetDSI is an offshore sports book. Onyx, it's all right. And obviously you get this at Canby. Same with Bet Rivers. More books, more betting opportunities. Yeah, Maddie. Also, I didn't even look at it. You can play. They give you some different boosts, but the 4-man slips, guys, is something that I don't play. So they have this UFC 323 boost for pick 6, 30% winnings boost. 4-pick slips are the worst combinations that you can make out there for slips. So it's something, I can kind of get on board if you have like a CeeDee Lamb free square and if you wanted to make a 4-pick slip, but it's not really. It's just 3-pick slips for me all day. So I'm going to go over to BetDSI to rock this play. This is a global offshore sports book, guys, that I use. Been using them in my personal account for about 3 years now. Still not limited. That's kind of the perks, guys. Not all offshore books are like this. Not the Bovadas, not the MyBookies. But some books like Bookmaker and BetOnline and BetDSI, I can still get down really good volume. I can still place larger wager sizes over there. So for the NBA, unless they remove this game, it looks like they did. I'm not seeing it now. Interesting, BetDSI. I go to pull it up, and I know there's a game today, but not seeing it on the available menu. So they might be reworking the odds. So unfortunately, that might be dead. But again, when the main bettor wants this at minus 110, I'm still okay, guys. If you want to get this at Ballybet, it's we start getting a Ballybet, Bet Rivers. It's kind of slim to no value. So I put a quarter or a half unit on that play. It's fine. If you can get it at that, yeah, they pulled it. Alabama plus 2.5 on the score at plus 100 odds. This is 8 cents off to Pinnacle. Okay, not bad. Plus 2.5 is not my favorite line to have this as, but SEC championship game. This isn't college hoops. This is college football. Low Vega minus 101. All right. Okay. Pinnacle's taking $10,000. Yeah, just getting this at plus 100 odds is kind of a decent play. It's a decent price that you're getting this at. Duke at plus 4.5. Against Virginia for the ACC Conference Championship game. Yeah, somebody wants this at minus 106. It's $5,000 limit to Pinnacle. Yeah, this one's just kind of eh. So as we kind of scroll down, the plays, as soon as we start going lower and lower on the totem pole on these play guys and scrolling, we're kind of getting into like more of a meh territory. The Sixers on the money line. This is a good play on BetMania if this is an actual real play. Again, it's 17 cents off to Pinnacle. It's only 6 cents off to Bookmaker, but Pinnacle's taking $3,000. The only issue sometimes, guys, with these offshore books is either it's a stale line, right, or it's not there anymore like it is with BetDSI. So let me double check this over here in BetMania. A book that I use, but again, guys, with all these offshore books, make sure you're very careful. Yeah, it's minus 140 for the money line, so it's not there. Be careful with the rollovers and what you take with them. This play with the Flames on the money line on Canby, a lot of people want this at like plus 111 to plus 113 odds. That's a decent amount of money here, guys. This is $3,200. This is $5K, $6. 8K. So there's about 8K out here on the Flames money line between plus 111 to plus 113 odds. So, yeah, you really can't get that, unfortunately, anywhere above that. But again, if you have an exchange, see if you can maybe get a play out there where you can offer a pretty good price, right? If you can get this at plus 113, I'd be happy with that. Plus 110, maybe not so much. But the exchanges, guys, you can always try to create different types of bets and see what's up. If we're looking at some arbitrage plays, I would go after more mainline markets this early in the morning and see what's up. Obviously, our arbitrage opportunities here are lower percentages when we're talking about first half plays. But again, if you're talking about money line plays, maybe other than women's college basketball, you can wager some good plays here. Now, I will say this. I mean, if you guys have Kalshi, you can bet this between DraftKings and Kalshi. There's not a ton of money out there, but there is something, right? And with these mainline plays, guys, this is where, like, these plus 110s, the minus 115s, you can load up and bet more money on these plays. You can bet a little bit higher. But it is early in the morning. These are some smaller college basketball schools. I like to peruse some mainline markets, but once we get below less than 1%, most likely it's not for me, unless it's like an NBA or NFL play. You know, this Sixers-Warriors, for those that have poly market, probably can't get a ton down on Bet Rivers, but you know, you could still maybe load up on a Bet Rivers and try to bet $500 over here, you know, bet 430. Again, you're only making, I don't know how many people are betting unders on player props at, what is it, 9:30 Eastern time. Yeah, I don't know how many people are doing that, right? For a 7:30 start. So just want to kind of keep that in mind. Now, if your account is already limited, then just go bet and make, there's none of these, everything I just said doesn't apply. Go make as much money as you possibly can. But in my opinion, at least what I'm seeing is if we don't receive more exchanges or trade prediction markets out there, then arbitrage betting it's going to be a little bit tougher out there in the streets. And like I said, guys, today I'm going to be filming a video kind of giving more of a more real, honest take on arbitrage. It's a strategy that works. It's a strategy that you can make money on. No doubt about that. Is it a strategy, though, that was as good as it was 3 years ago? No, it's not as good as it once was. That's for sure in terms of your account health. No question about that. That's why you don't see me place a lot of ARBs, guys, anymore, or at least on the streams. I like to place some to show examples, but it's not really my jam, not my cup of tea. We're looking at some mainline markets over here. That's the theme on the morning streams, main markets. The reason I like to focus on main markets compared to player props early in the morning, there's more money typically you can bet on mainline markets. And this is the one way you can beat mainline markets. It's a little tougher to beat main markets later in the day. Your best chance at beating them is earlier in the morning. So we're looking at some plays here for the NBA and the NHL for today. This under 6 on Caesars between the Wild and the Flames. Yeah, exactly, Chi-Town. It's exactly why they pump 4-mans. DraftKings Pick 6 knows that you're dying to use that boost on a 4-man slip, and they also know the 4-man slips are the worst price slip out of all the slips. It's all part of a divine plan when it comes to these sports books. So the under 6 here on Caesars, this is almost a low hold to Pinnacle. It's 1 cent off of being a low hold, so it looks pretty decent. Panthers, Predators. I will say, so far this year for myself, betting totals in the NHL, I don't really do it anymore. But this is a good play, and it's hard for me to pass that one up because it's 12 cents off to Penny. Let's see what we have. Right, not much movement from Pinnacle. Bookmaker moved up a touch, circa a touch as well. FanDuel's kind of jumping all over the place. They moved up a lot within the last hour. Not what I really like to see, which is within the last hour, FanDuel goes from minus 114 to plus 100. So that would probably have me put the brakes on this play. I'm interested to know, for all markets, but main lines were higher. This was all, oh yeah, no doubt about that, Matty. This was all live though. Yeah, live, you're always going to be able to place more bets on mainline markets. No doubt about that compared to alts. That's always going to be the play. Yeah, Ken, they definitely are. They definitely are. And so, you're being recommended to bet a lot of unders, and it's just like, dude, do I have to? Like, I don't really want to. And we know that this is, FanDuel's the book that moved. So that's why I don't like this Predators-Panthers under. I wanted to know, though, I know we have almost 40 people in the chat right now, or on the stream, which is awesome. So I was just curious. Asking for a friend, but anyone in here use Polymarket? Would love to know. I believe you have to be located outside the U.S. to use it. So that's kind of the issue here. The issue here with this play, guys, is, we talk about the sharp money tool. And so if you are a Polymarket user, you're like, man, OddsJam's recommended me to bet this under on the Leafs and Hurricanes game. This looks really good. Well, it is really good to Pinnacle, but Pinnacle's taking just under $4,000 on this play. You could see that someone is offering you $26,000 to bet this under, which means this person really wants to bet the over. Now, they want to bet the over at plus 108 odds, which is not that far off to Pinnacle. It's only 3 cents. So we talk about the sharp money tool a lot, guys, right? Now, for those of you that are new to this, we can break this down in just a second, okay? This is where the Kalshis and the Polymarkets, you have to be careful in reading through the tea leaves. Number one, on Kalshi, you could say, well, Billy, someone really wants to bet this over on Kalshi because they're offering $23,000. Yes, but somebody wants this play on Kalshi at plus 122 odds. No one's offering plus 122 odds. Right, so this is an extremely positive EV play if this bettor gets their order filled on the under on Kalshi, because they're getting plus 122 on the over. Now, the difference here is the same thing here too. Someone's offering $10,000 on the over, right? And you'd be like, well, I don't know what side to bet. But remember, this bettor is offering plus 104, which means that they want minus 104 on the under. If you can get minus 104, that's a pretty EV play. But the person that's offering this at minus 108, they want plus 108, which isn't all that far off to Pinnacle's line. So this is 26,000. This would be a play that I just wouldn't touch. If you wanted to go with this bettor and bet the over, okay, then go bet this at like a Profit X or a no vig and get that price. But this is where understanding how to read these prediction markets is really important. Yeah, no doubt about that, Dr. Slips. Okay, Pasa Skunky, what's going on, brother? Have you been reading any stuff in Edge Zone about smart money? It's backwards. It could be. Again, Shaitan, I haven't got to read it. I'll read it. I'll take a look at it. I could see that. There are some spots, and I definitely need to today before the afternoon stream to export my bets to look at the sharp money plays thus far for me this year. I just feel that if you see, let's refresh this page too. If you see so I'm not betting this Predators under, guys. I don't like that. If you see, like Jacob Chikrin yesterday was a great example. We cashed on that play. It was a sharp money play. Somebody wanted to bet $4,400 on his over, and we ended up cashing it. Now, I understand that's one specific example. We've had examples that have lost. I still, though, believe for at least player prop betting, if somebody's putting up, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 on a player prop when you can only probably bet it for like $1,000 or $1,500 max on FanDuel, I think that's still worth it. But I appreciate that. There's going to be a lot on this particular topic. This might be like who's the GOAT, LeBron or Jordan. There's going to be certain people that feel a certain way. They think, yeah, the sharp money tool isn't worth a damn. Others are going to be like, yeah, this is actually really good insight. So now the only other way that we can really gain an idea from if this is great is if we actually know the person who's posting the liquidity, right? If we can find out which person is posting the liquidity on these plays, that's obviously how we can really find out. So I appreciate that, but basically 94% said no. So figured because we have mostly American people in here, that we couldn't do that. Let's look at this Wild. We talked about the Wild Flames. Okay, so this is one that I'm actually interested in. Okay, you can see that Pinnacle has moved a lot within the last, 7 hours. Okay, and then bookmakers kind of moved in a similar fashion. FanDuel's followed Pinnacle, right? Pinnacle moved first. FanDuel moved second. Interesting. But we can go bet this over at like a BetMania or a DraftKings or an Onyx. This under 5.5. I know betting unders is not fun, but something that I'd be willing. I'm going to bet this over at BetMania mostly because I like the movement there, and also because I have a rollover that I got to get through. Of course, it's not plus 105. Of course, it's minus 105. So this isn't any good on BetMania. But Onyx, DraftKings, check that under out for sure. Appreciate that insight there, Skunky. I don't know if I really even want, though, to use Pauly. I don't know. Arsub says, so make sure I'm just catching up on all the... Yeah, appreciate that, Skunky. Irish says, I'm much more of a fan of EV than sharp money. Seems like the sharp money thing is caught up to its edge, like playing against the market instead of one better. Ken says he agrees. The market seems to have caught up to these sharp money tools. Dr. Slip says, I totally disagree. When used correctly, the sharp money tool is just showing the massive wagers that are moving the market. A lot of the time they see something pop up and the lines move right away. Yeah, I mean, so one thing I'll say, guys, is the hardest part with EV betting, and this is always going to be the cat and mouse game. You know, one of the sharpest player prop groups out there, there's a couple, you know, Prop Professor's good, is against the run, or yes, against the run. I can't remember the name. Against the run, or dude, I just can't believe I blanked on them. Circles Off's talked about them a lot. They're really good, and typically, like when they drop their, and you can sign up and pay for their picks. When they drop their player props, they move the player prop market by like sometimes 2 to 3 points. So if they're like, yo, bet Keontae George over 19.5 points, because they have such a massive following, they'll move that market from 19.5, maybe all the way up to 21, 22.5. That by the time that, like, I remember like last year, establish the run. When I get the play and I had a time to look at it, I was like, dude, like I can't bet this play. You almost want to bet the opposite because the markets move so much in one direction that you can bet the opposite side and kind of you have that middle opportunity. Establish the run with just their player props were so good and so sharp that their original line would move 2 to 3 points. You know, they tell you to bet the over 5.5 assists. The guy moves to 7.5. It was insane. So, depending on the market, guys, you're going to see crazy movements, crazy swings. So, the sharp money tool, typically most of these plays early in the morning that I see, you're just getting really good pricing on Kambi. Like you can beat Kambi early in the morning. And this isn't like you need the sharp money tool. You can, betting the night before or early in the morning, guys, on mainline markets on some of the rec books, you can have immense success just looking at kind of the rest of the sports betting market and what their model throws it as. But there's always going to be some different settings on that for sure. Yeah, thanks, Ed Joan. Establish the run. Got my tongue tied up there for a minute. So the settings are just worst case in Pinnacle. It's always, unless I'm going after long shot underdog odds, it's pretty much always worst case, Chi-Town, or for any of you guys that are curious and want to know. It's always worst case, unless I'm looking for long shots. You guys know for NHL goal scorers and player home runs, I use additive. And that's it. It's a very simple setup. So, all right. Now, outside of the sharp money tool, right, and kind of the back and forth that goes between there, we talked a lot about Edge Zone. And this is kind of, in my opinion, guys, the Discord that you go to after you get limited from BetMGM and Bet365 and BetRivers and Fanatics, and you're like, dude, how do these guys still get money down on these plays? How do they do it? Edge Zone is what I would recommend. That's what I would use, because this whole entire Discord group here is designed to help you blaze a path forward after you're all limited and you bet into the sharp books. So there's a lot going on here in this Discord, and I don't have enough. I could take a whole live stream and go through this Discord. But based on your sports book, okay, for games, right, the game zone here, if you just want to see plays for Caesars, they have this, right? Like yesterday at 4 o'clock, they said, yo, this is an older play, but bet the Pacers at plus 8.5. They give you, obviously, the sports book, the best odds, the fair value, the EV edge. If you bet Quarter Kelly, they even tell you how much to put in terms of a unit size. It's all spelled out here for you. My favorite thing is that they have this little line, right? I'm going to make myself really tiny. So you can see this white line right here is what is Pinnacle's limit. What is Pinnacle taking on this particular market for this play? They're taking $5,000. This little orange line is Pinnacle from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m., just kind of going up and down. We got minus 108 to minus 124. Every little circle here is Pinnacle updating its odds every time. And you can see there's massive movements here, right? So what I like to do and what I like to target is find a play where we see liquidity move a lot. We had one there. Here we go. This is an opportunity. Today, this morning, Sixers -2 on Caesars. This was a play we'd want to go after. Pinnacle's chilling right around here, right? They're in this minus 134 area, but they're only taking $3,000. All of a sudden, just after 7 a.m., this white line shoots up. They go from taking $3,000 to $5,000. All of a sudden, you can see Pinnacle over the next hour or so, their odds go from minus 135 down to minus 122. So it moved downward in a downward direction, okay? So this is where you're like, yo, you can get this at minus 110 at Caesars. Pinnacle's at minus 122. So that's where I like to use this type of tool. Now, you can use this also for props. You want to bet DraftKings props? Let me catch up to the most recent props so you guys can see. This plays on Sandro, over 19.5 points, rebounds, and assists. This is on DraftKings. The odds are minus 103. This is about an EV edge, sharp edge of 2.6, right? They're telling you, yo, we're grabbing this from Pinnacle and BetOnline, who have this between minus 125 to minus 122. So you see the sources that they're grabbing the play from, and then they're showing you, where you should go bet this at and how much edge it is. So you can pick by your sportsbook guys. They also have a DFS zone as well. You want to get your DFS. Now, what I particularly really like to do is, now this is their basic package, right? A step up from this is their NHL shots on goal, right? It's what I really, really like over here, right? So Jason Zucker, right? This was a cash. You can see right here that they're telling you, yo, that you can get this over a props builder. The fair is minus 154. You can bet this between minus 135 to minus 137, right? It's really, really good. So same with Kyle Connor. Now, some plays, guys, like this play doesn't have maybe a crazy gap, but it's a play that cashed as well. You could bet this over at Bookmaker. They're always telling you to play to win a unit. So if you're getting minus 153 odds, put up 1.53 units, to make one unit. That's how they kind of like to operate. So a lot of these plays, guys, were really, really solid. Another one here with Morrissey. This is a better one, right? You can bet this between minus 116 to minus 132. So they're telling you that you can bet this on Prop Builder, which we know Prop Builder has so many different options, so many different books. But then if you don't have Props Builder, you have a really solid gap that you can bet this at, right? Find these odds somewhere else. So that's really where this has just been incredible. And so I'll share this with you guys. We have some people in the stream right now that are using Edge Zone. If you just want to see plays to your favorite books, whether it's player props or main markets, this is $97 a month. That's this plan. If you want the Matrix plan, where you're getting access and being able to take a look at these plays that are just automatically given to you, right? It's the same for the NHL and NBA. There's college football and NFL, right? We got a lot going on here, right? These are different plays that you can grab out here, that you can pull up here. Luke Cornett under on assists. This is going to be $197 a month, and this is their plan here. And then if you want access to it all, where you can see their contributors like Salt, like the Arb Father, like Arbologist, and you want to see their plays, right? And you want to see their tickets, then this would be the other link right here that you can go, and it's $297 a month. So these are some different options. This would be the Discord that I would use. Honestly, I would drop everything else, and I would just follow this Discord so that I could just bet into the sharp books, because I know the sharp books will take my action, right? That's what it's all about. Let me kind of catch up with everybody. Try Props Professor, pick the odds, try this one. Wilbo says, sharp money tool is useful, but it's massively overpriced. Tell me something I don't know, Wilbo. Appreciate that, man. Skunky, Smart Stake is offering their smart money tool for free right now. Yeah, I've heard about Smart Stake. Obviously, that's the one that I think it's Green Means Go promotes. Green Means Go is always going to be a man of the people and try to promote stuff for free, for the free stuff, right? It's not some groundbreaking invention matching liquidity on bets and sportsbooks odds together, but it is useful. As for FYI, no problem about that. Appreciate it, Skunky. Everything OJ is overpriced, Lily. Actually, Lily, the one thing I disagree with you on with that one is back in 2021 and 2022, odds GM was an absolute value. Absolute value. But in today's current market, it's a little bit tougher out there, right? But that's kind of the same general sentiment across everything, which is back in the day, it was really good. Nowadays, you got to pay more. Everything's more expensive. Everything's more expensive for sure. So there is definitely, guys, depending on the tools and the software, because there's, when I started this whole thing, there's only OddsJam. Now there's like 20 other competitors out there. Depending on your sports betting bankroll, there's a lot of other tools that you might be able to use for a discounted price compared to OddsJam and still be able to see incredible value. So I think most of everyone in here knows my number one concern is teaching you guys about sharp betting and what I look for and how you can beat these books. And not just what I do, but just the different strategies out there that you can utilize to beat the books, right? I had the middle tool pulled up because middle betting is incredible, right? If you can find some middles, this is really, really good, especially plus odds, plus percentages. But try all the tools. That's kind of what, if you're receiving a free trial option, try Pick the Odds, try OddsView, try Unabated, try A-Train Station, try OddsJam, right? Try Avo, try them all, right? That's what I did with a lot of Discords. I've tried a ton of Discords. Kind of landed on Juice Bets and Edge Zone as my two favorites. Love them both. Shout out to both of them. Trev and then Arb Father and Arbologist, love them. Mitch, what's going on? So those are my two favorites. But there's a lot of good stuff out there, guys, that you can find. So find something that works for your wallet. But at the end of the day, positive EV is positive EV, and arbitrage is arbitrage. And it doesn't take a genius to see that if someone posts $50,000 on a bet and all the sharp books are taking $2,000, that maybe we want to be on the $50,000 bet size. All right, you can definitely use some common sense for sure. All right, let's head back over. Let's see. We're looking at some middle opportunities here. If you guys want to dial this in to maybe hit more of your middles, we made a video on this before. When you're looking at your min maximum odds, obviously if you're going minus 400 to plus 400, your range then of outcomes is going to be a little bit smaller hitting on these plays, right? If I pull up an odds converter calculator, you guys need to know that there's probably a very high likelihood that the minus 400 play wins because it's 80% odds. And if it's a plus 400 play, my bad. Wrong one. Plus 400 gives you 20% chance, whereas minus 400 gives you an 80% chance. So you just want to be careful here when you're going after plays like that. But if you can kind of stick to, I don't know, maybe a plus minus 150, right? Maybe you have a better chance. And if you dial this in even more and take this to like a plus minus 125, you're talking 44 to 55%. So if you dial in your odds range a little bit more on the middles tool and say, give me some stuff that's like minus 125 to plus 125, you might not see as many opportunities, but that, number one, there's a couple things. Number one, you can bet more money on the sports books when it comes to odds in this range. They're going to accept more money. And if you're looking to bet middles and try to hit a big middle, this is the kind of the range that you want to stick to. If you want to do plus minus 130, really up to 150, guys, I think you're going to be in a great spot, right? But the more that you can dial this into like the plus minus 125s or plus minus 110s, you get more into that flip of a coin range, which is where we want to be. And we know then the books are going to accept larger wager sizes, so then we can make even more money on the middles when we ultimately hit them. So you give yourself a better range to hit the middle, and you give yourself more liquidity that you can bet on that middle. And that's really what you want to look for. So I'm not saying you can't hit the plus minus 400 middles, but if you really want to try to dial this in a bit more to get in that flip of a coin range, go ahead and do so. But if you want to just find some positive plays, yeah, okay, we're there. This is where then you could take the 380, 375s. It's just, you're dealing with wider variance, right? So if you want less variance, stick to the tighter odds ranges. That would be something you could do. Yeah, Lily, company sold for sure. And I mean, I don't know, if I'm Alex Monahan and someone's offering me $80 million, could you blame them? You know what I mean? Like, I understand once the company sold, then that's when everything really changed. But if I'm an Alex Monahan and I'm getting offered $80 million, I'm like, yeah, where do I sign? Like all day. And then I could possibly get another maybe $80 million? Like, yeah, for those individuals that had to make that decision, it's a no-brainer. No-brainer. But for everyone else, the trickle-down effect, yeah, you feel the ramifications, no doubt about that. But I appreciate that, Lily. I appreciate that. All right, so 96% said, no, we don't use Polymarket. Okay. That's why I don't really showcase it too often, guys, because I figured for those of you for the person or two that did, hopefully you're finding some success over there. And if you're using a VPN like old Skunky's got like all the tricks up his sleeve. He's the guy that he's just like, I just feel like he's in the weeds and he's kind of in the know, and he's a guy that knows a guy. Skunky, I don't know you, bro. You're a good dude, bro. I feel like you're a guy that knows a guy that knows a guy, and you're always like, man, this guy always has an angle or an edge. Like, what's up with this dude? He's like, yeah, he's just kind of in the know. So arbitrage bets, as we talked about before, guys, these player props, if your account's limited, go nuke it. If it's not limited, I wouldn't. Like, if your Bovada account is still healthy and it's not limited, don't bet this DeAndre Ayton play right now. Like, with Bovada, you guys know, just like with Hard Rock and Bet Rivers, like there's going to be a ton of arbs later tonight. Like, just wait until that point. Yeah, Lily. That's what happened, man. That's what happened. No doubt about that. So, and that's what's going to happen to a lot of these places. And honestly, guys, and I'm sure you guys know this, but for any software that hasn't gotten bought by a public company, that's the goal, right? Is to get get your product off the ground. I think Pick the Odds would love to be bought for 100 million or 150 million. So that's kind of like the goal with all of them, is that hopefully they can get bought. So for those companies that haven't, you can definitely probably find some really good value, I just happened to get in with OddsJam before the company was sold. So, all right, let's look at let's finish up with some DFS for any of my DFS folks. And yeah, it's definitely, like I said before, based on your bankroll, it's your decision to make on which software you want to use. It's a legitimate thing, because you don't have, I know I pump a lot of different Discords. There's so many different things out there that you can use to help you make money. It can be kind of tough on figuring out like which ones to go with. PrizePicks 3-mans. We talked about the George Claxton play. It's fine to Pinnacle. It's only 7 cents off, which again, it's okay. Just like Jeremiah Fears. And then, it's fine with Quickly and LeBron, but like once we get down to this range, it gets tough for me to really want to go after these plays. I'm really I have a little bit more faith in George just because it's 10 cents off. I like that a bit more. It's just been tough the last couple of days with DFS. I don't think this is a trend coming up that we're seeing, but it's just definitely a little bit tougher with some of the plays, at least to just what Pinnacle has compared to what everybody else has. It just hasn't been a good time. We talked about this Gibbs play. Yeah, pretty much the same stuff. This early in the morning, we don't see as much really moving like we do at the 5 o'clock or at the 4 o'clock. Well, my time is 6 o'clock Eastern hour. 6 o'clock Eastern hour, there's just a ton of movement. So let's go over to better. It just hasn't been great. Slim edge. Talked about Gibbs. Like Sadiq Bey. No, thank you. Not really. It's probably decent to FanDuel. It's not very good to Pinnacle. I like to see multiple books kind of combining together. I like to have a lot of confidence when we're putting these picks together. Kempe shots on goal. It's a little bit worse than the 3.5, but okay, fine. But I appreciate all you guys with the insights and sharing about that. No doubt. Good conversation. Always definitely helps guys when the convo's moving this early in the morning. But yeah, guys, we're going to be wrapping this up here in just a moment. There just isn't much, at least on the DFS books. Hoping to see brighter things later this afternoon. Okay, Keontae, all right, that's fine. We talked about Derek White before. And Julius Randle, no thank you. Michael Porter Jr., all right. Yeah, it's not great. Because the further that we get away, like on this Ace Bailey play, the further that we get away from, like this is at plus 116. So if Pinnacle had this at 11.5, this might be at like minus 115, right? Maybe, or maybe minus 110. So that's why I don't mind going after the Derek White play, because I'm like, all right, if it's plus 103 at 32.5, at 31.5, maybe it's like a minus 125. That's what I'm basically doing the projection in my head with saying it could be okay. But the more we get further away from that, that's when things, on that one line like this with Ace Bailey, that's where I'm like, or Derek White here on his just points. That's where I'm not really a big fan. All right, guys, that's where we're going to kind of call it for this morning. Back on at 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 a.m. or 3 p.m. Pacific. Questions, email me, DM me, Dr. Slips. I'll talk to you here in a little bit, my man. Appreciate everyone tuning in as always. Great back and forth. Nothing else, guys. Have a fantastic morning. Hopefully your boss doesn't kick your ass today. And we'll talk later. Adios.